lifestyle has caught fire, and we talk about the rewards and challenges of it. This is the Wandering Worker Podcast with Matt Lloyd.
Welcome to another episode of the Wandering Worker Podcast. I am your host, Matt Lloyd. The Wandering Worker is powered by Magic Apple Technology. We've been saving good businesses from bad phone systems since 2008. Whether you're tuning in from the comfort of your home, a cafe, or exploring a new corner of the world, this podcast is your compass to navigate the ever-evolving landscape of remote working. We'll uncover invaluable insights, share personal stories, and connect with experts who have mastered the art of wandering while working. Today, our guest is Grey Lloyd. Grey, how are you today?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. So before we get started and everything, number one, you have a very unique last name. It matches mine.
This is true.
This is a point of pride for me personally because I now have everybody in my family working in the business, which is a huge thing. So I'm very excited to get the youngest, the daughter in and doing stuff. So I'm very glad to have you here.
Thanks.
So before we get into the nuts and bolts of everything, I asked five random questions. I have a little random question generator. And the first question is, what's the story behind one of your scars?
Surgery.
Tell me a little bit more about that. We talked about this. Remember, it's like a tennis match. Let's do better than your mom and your brother did.
I can try. I have a non-working esophagus, and so I've had a lot of different procedures and surgeries done to try to correct it. And I got a couple tummy scars and floppy throat tube now.
That's right. What's the name of this?
Achalasia.
That's right. And if you don't know about it, it's a very weird, rare thing. I'd never heard of it until we found out she had it. But if you haven't, it's kind of awful, really. I mean,
I wouldn't recommend it.
No. Like everybody else's esophagus is like, it's muscle.
Yeah, it works.
And yours is like I said, it's just a flappy flesh tube.
Yeah, don't do nothing.
Doesn't do anything. All right, here's another question. What is something you can never seem to finish?
Books. TV shows.
TV shows, you get 90% of the way in, you just quit.
Last last couple chapters, I tap out. I don't know. I like the mystery. I like not knowing, I think.
Okay. I just asked that one. Do a better job, random question generator. Seriously, this is the next question. This is odd. What's the last book you gave up on and stopped reading?
Oh my gosh.
You went from really being a sad generator to a very smart generator very quickly.
It's listening. It's AI.
It is.
I'm trying to think. That's really difficult. It's been a minute since I've even picked one up. It's probably by Colleen Hoover, if I had to guess, because that's like my cheap, easy read that I can never finish.
I got you. Okay. All right. Question 3. Who is one of your best friends and what do you love about them?
Going Patrick all the way.
Patrick's
my boyfriend.
The big Yankee. Love that guy. I don't know. I love him so much. It's like he's just my person. He just gets me. Yeah. It's so easy to be best friends with him. He's a nice guy. He really is. I don't have anything negative to say about him.
And that's a good stamp of approval from my dad.
It is. Man, this thing is just really killing it today. Question 4. What makes you cry?
What makes me cry? If my cat's being really cute.
If your cat's being cute?
Oh.
You do have a couple cats, don't you?
I do. And they make me cry from cuteness.
Yeah. One of them's a little cross-eyed, though.
She can't help it.
She can't. She does look kind of funny.
She makes her cuter.
It maybe. And then last question. I'm going to do this. I already know the answer to that one. This is a great one. What's the best thing you got from one of your parents?
My potty mouth.
It's the best thing you got from one of your parents? Really?
I mean, a job, a career, ambition, a potty mouth.
I'll take it. I don't care. That's fine.
It's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah. And you do have the worst mouth of anybody in the family by far.
I wear it proudly.
You do. Okay. So with those questions out of the way, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm your daughter. I'm younger. I'm 20. I've worked in bars and restaurants. I still do that just on the side for fun. I tried banking for a little over a year, and I was in like a cubicle 24/7, looking at a computer nonstop. And now I'm switching to working from home and working for you.
Yeah. How's that transition gone?
It's good. It's definitely weird. I feel more guilty than I thought I would.
Guilty?
Yeah, I feel guilty.
Tell me, what do you mean by guilty? Because I heard you yesterday, you were talking to your mom and overheard, and she was like, you were stressed out. And I was like, what the heck is she stressed out for? We did all this so she wouldn't be stressed out. So tell me about that. What do you mean you feel guilty?
In my other jobs, when I'm not doing something and I have downtime, it's like, okay, you can clean some glassware, you can get up and go talk to your coworkers. But when I'm at home and I'm having a second, I'm on my couch in sweatpants and I just feel like guilty. I'm like, it's too good to be true still. So I feel like I'm not doing what I need to be doing.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, but at the same time, I think once you get past the guilt factor, I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, it's like before you'd get up. What time did you have to get up before?
Like 6.
6 o'clock in the morning. You had to get dressed, had to get your happy face on, get your coffee ready, get out the door on the road. How long was your drive to the office?
30 to 40.
30 to 40 minutes. You get to the office and then you're there all day. Okay. You're around people. We won't go into names or details or anything, but you're around people with different personalities, right? Some of those are good. Some of those are a little jarring or a little grating. And you don't have any way to escape that, get away from it. And you got to, do what you got to do. So working from home, I mean, the upside is you don't have the travel. You can get up now, at 7:45 and roll out of bed and you're ready to go to work because you don't have to do anything, which is fine. What about do you feel like do you miss the interpersonal?
Not at all.
I mean, but it's been with this, this is the second week, right? Do you think you might miss that in the future?
I don't know. Cause I mean, I'm still talking to people 24/7, especially right now, I'm just making a bunch of calls. So I definitely feel like I get my feel of people. I'm not too worried about that, but I mean, who knows? It's still so early. I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like the other side of this too is, and one of the things we're making adjustments because now we're pretty much 100% remote now as a company. We still have an office, and some people still come up here, but even the guys that like Steve that really liked working from liked coming to the office or thought he liked coming to the office. Once he started working from home on a regular, it's hard to get him to. He doesn't even turn his camera on anymore. We video. I call him Shirtless Steve now because I'm like, I don't know if he's wearing a shirt or not. Who knows? I'm going to assume he's not. It's funner for me when I'm just looking at that little picture of him. So we're making some adjustments. I think I've talked about this 1,000 times. Culture is really important when you're in remote, right? And so we're going to start making adjustments. We're going to start meeting on a monthly basis versus just having a quarterly party, having like a monthly happy hour type thing, which you're going to help us with. I was talking about the other day. So tell me a little bit about your role before at the bank, what you did. Tell me a little bit about what all you did there.
I was on the desk side of things, so I did wires, account openings, a lot of account maintenance. I did a lot of reports, just a lot of paperwork, really.
Got you.
A lot of scanning.
Yeah, and you're somebody who likes to be able to take charge and own something. I mean, that's something that you've always been that way. You'd rather be in charge of, be the person that people ask questions to versus you having to ask questions to other people. Sure. When we talk about, and this is fairly new in the role that you're in, you're taking over the customer success role at Magic Apple, which is basically going to be the reaching out to our customers on a regular, doing the things we haven't done a very good job of, right now. We've gotten a lot of grace with our customers because we are rock stars on support and we do a great job on everything else, but we don't follow up like we should in a non-support issue type thing, just to check in with customers we haven't heard from in a while. So right now you're going through and cleaning up all of our database and stuff like that. So you're calling and reaching customers just to make sure that they are still customers. If they're not on the hosted platform, they might have bought a system from us 10 years ago and we may not hear from them that much because it just works. Yeah. So it's one of those things where you're kind of doing some of that. Where do you see yourself and what do you see and what do you kind of want to do in your career? I mean, you're a young woman, you're 20 years old, going to be 21 next April. What do you want to do with your life?
I'm going to be honest. I still don't know.
And that's okay.
I don't even try to lie with an answer anymore. I always you know, you always try to like lie and act like you know, but I just don't.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I support that 100%.
I know you do. You've taught me that.
Yeah, it's hard to nail a kid down and say, hey, I need to know what you're going to do for the rest of your life. They're like, I'm going to do this. No, you're not.
Right. I mean, I thought I was going to be in banking forever.
Right.
That was my initial
Just a
plan.
year,
Yeah.
right? And that's pretty good.
I mean, when I'm sitting there and when I wasn't miserable yet, I was thinking, man, I could see myself doing this forever and this being it. Like, I'm fine with that until I started hating it. So
what do you think, like, people your age right now, right? You have friends. What do your friends, what do people your age feel about going into the workforce nowadays? Because I feel like and I know it's totally different than it was when I came in to the workforce in general.
I feel like most of people my age feel like underprepared and kind of set up for failure in a way.
What do you mean by that?
Like, with the way, just for like looking for jobs, you know, before I decided fully that I wanted to come and work for you, I was considering other options. And for those, it's awful. Like, the jobs are just not good. They're looking for, you have to have degrees or you have to have so many years of experience. So it kind of feels like there's no way to get in. You know, it's kind of like you're coming up on a mountain that you just don't know where to start.
Yeah, and I've always told you guys this from the beginning. Jim and I were talking about this earlier today. I've never been a big component of you must go to school.
Yeah.
Go to college. And I only do that because they've priced themselves out of the future of a lot of people. And it's to the point now where if you have to pay to go to school, you're going to come out with debt. I mean, unless your parents are just prepared to pay for everything. And we said we were never going to do that. My parents didn't pay for my college. I had to join the military to get through college. But you have to remember, my first semester was $630. And and I graduated in 3 years because I knew if I took a break at any kind, even summer, that I would quit. So I just stayed on full time until I was done.
Valid.
But at the end of the 3-year period, it had already gone from $600 to like $2,500 or something a semester in 3 years. And now that same school, I think it's like $20,000 a semester. And I can guarantee you that the education isn't any better than it was then.
It's the same teachers.
It's the same teachers. They're just saying the same stuff over and over again. I mean, I was an art major, for God's sakes. And so it didn't make sense. And so I always told you and your brothers, like, you know, if you want to go to school to be something like you want to be a lawyer, you got to have a degree for it, that's fine. But still, figure out how you're going to pay for it. I'm not paying for it. That's not a popular opinion on people, but I think a lot of people are starting to maybe understand that a little bit. A guy that I know that is a big educational proponent and says, you know, he thinks you should always, one of the big reasons he says is, well, they need that experience of college life. And I was like, man, do you need to go into debt over that though? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if you need to go into debt over it.
I don't think so either.
So you've been in the workforce in general for about 3 years, I guess? Something like that. What's been the biggest thing that was surprising about being a person that goes to work every day for you?
I'm never not shocked by people. Walking in to do this podcast, a man looked me up and down and tried to talk to me. As soon as he got out of eyesight, he let out the loudest burp. People just shock me. They just don't think. Yeah. I'm constantly shocked by what people think is okay. I just can't.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yes. So it's been just interacting with people in general.
That's the hardest part. It really is. If people could just be nice and not weird, it'd just be too easy.
Mm-hmm. What's been something that's been surprisingly good that you've experienced?
I like work. I like being busy. I didn't think that would be me. I wasn't sure, but I like being really busy. I like feeling like I know what I'm doing, and I do get motivated a lot easier by work than I thought I would have been. Yeah.
You're somebody, like I said before, you like to be the person you go to ask questions, but you also like efficiencies.
Yes.
And you like to take over something and run it smart, which is why I'm so excited that you're going to, be here with us now.
Thank you.
Because the role that we put you in is really an undefined mess. And so it'll be good to have somebody in there that can take control and actually do something productive with it. So we're excited that you're here. What do you see for this? What are some things that we've had conversations around it. What are some thoughts that you've had around this role that you think would be interesting?
Like my ideas to like bring in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 2 years ago when we were considering it, we had a lot of different like smaller like gift ideas and things like that, like little thank yous. I still would like to figure out a way to get that going. You've talked about doing a newsletter too. I think that would be really, really cool.
Yeah. And I mean, all that's stuff that we'll do. I think it's just, we have a unique company. It's a small company, but we are really good at what we do. We take it seriously. We put a lot of time and thought and energy into who we are and our culture. And so it's good that when we get the opportunity to share that on a regular basis to people that we don't deal with day to day. So for example, we may be dealing with somebody that is in charge of opening tickets for issues and they love us, but we may not be talking to the decision maker at that place all the time, or the owner of that company. We don't get to talk to them as much, and they don't know how great of a job we're doing. How do we communicate with that person, and how do we do that kind of stuff? So that's a lot of what we're working on and wanting to think about with that. So is the idea of working remotely for you important enough that if somebody came along and offered you, I always ask this question because I think it's interesting. If somebody came along tomorrow and this wasn't a family business, you were just working in another company, but you got to be remote, and they came in and said, "I'll give you $1,000 extra a year to come work with us, but you got to come into the office."
No.
What about 2,000?
Nah.
What's that number?
I don't know, but then my question's like, well, is the culture similar to this? Because there's so many other factors. I don't really think it comes down to a number necessarily. I think I weigh like my opinions heavier than my paycheck, which I really shouldn't. But
yeah, you know what your brother said when I asked you this question?
What?
He was like, I said $1,000. Here, I take the money. I looked at him and I was like, come on, man. He was like, no, seriously, I'd take the money. $1,000, I'd do that. I said, $1,000 a year. He was, oh yeah. I'd take that in a heartbeat. I was like, okay. I was just like, that's just who he is. So you've been a member of my family since you were born.
This is true.
And you've been there since we started building this business.
I remember it vividly.
Yeah. Was it ever in the back of your mind that you wanted to be a part of things?
Oh yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I mean, ever since I was little, for sure. And like seeing you and Mom do it, and you guys getting like being so passionate and being so driven towards it. It's I've always loved the company. You've it's always kind of felt like a sibling almost, Yeah. It's like it was 2008, so I was 5, and you guys were dirt poor and struggling and trying to build this thing, and I watched it. I always wanted to be a part of it. I've always had so much love for Magic Apple just because I saw its birth. You know?
And you saw both the good and the bad of it.
Oh, I saw it all. Yeah.
Because it was rough in the beginning. I had Justin Plouffe on earlier. We were talking about it, and he asked me like, what was the first couple of years like?
Awful.
Making money, money wise. And I was like, we were taking tomatoes off the list. It was rough.
Yeah.
It was an interesting time to start that off. So you're at Magic Apple. You're doing this thing. You're working remote. You're happy doing that. And I asked you the question of what you want to do and where you see your life, business wise. Personally speaking, what do you see coming in the future, just personally for you?
My goals are pretty small right now. I'm pretty young, but I mean, for me, I would say like I'm wanting to pay off my car. I want to buy a house at some point in my lifetime. Not sure if that will ever be a possibility.
It will be, but it is definitely hard right now for young people.
Yeah,
when I think I bought my first house when I was 25 years old is when I bought my first house. I don't even think that's possible unless a kid is a YouTube sensation making stupid money doing nothing.
Basically.
You know what I mean? It's just, I don't see how they afford to do that nowadays. It's just hard. But you guys are really independent, and you do you and your brother both are super independent, have done a great job of wanting to be out and doing your own thing and just making your way, and you're doing a great job, and you'll be fine. I have all the faith in the world that you will be.
Thanks.
So, with what you decided not to go to college, like we talked a little bit about this already, but you had kind of thought about going and looking at some of it. Why did you decide not to? Was it all because I said you didn't have to, or was it you just didn't see a point?
I had enrolled.
Right.
I had done it. I had like virtual orientation. I was getting my class schedule for it, and then I got an email saying that I owed like $4,000 already, and I was like, this is all supposed to be free from like the Tennessee scholarships and stuff. Yeah. And then they were like, well, you have to pay money up front, and then they were just giving me crap, and I had to pay money, and I was like, I don't want to do it that bad. It wasn't worth a couple $100 to me then. I was like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
There's no point to me.
Like I said, it's the ROI of the return on investment. Yeah. It's harder when and it's not like before too, because the college enrollment was so much lower when I was in school. Having a college degree did kind of set you apart a little bit when you were looking for a job. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And jobs, they said you got to have a college degree, and they did that because that meant something a little different than it means now. Now, I mean, everybody, there's more people that have one than probably don't have one that graduate, and it's just a different thing altogether. Yeah. It really is. So is there, what are you passionate about besides your cats? What else do we need to know about you?
I really do love bartending. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of fun with bartending. I like making drinks, and I do love, that's my people part of my life is the bartending. Yeah. That's where I'm people-y.
And where are you at right now?
Big Machine.
You like it there?
I do. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a tasting room, so I just get to give people free booze. They have fun. I have fun. I make money. It's great.
I know we came, your mom and I came a couple weeks back for brunch, and it was good. It was a neat little place. Mm-hmm. The food was good, and it was good hanging out with you. Well, hey, listen, kid, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I just want to thank you for being on today. I'm glad to have all my little chicks in the basket again, and super pumped about that. So thank you, Grey, for being on today.
Thanks
Hope
for
you
having
had
me.
Fun. And not too stressed out or anything, I hope.
Nope.
Good. Well, that's it for this episode of The Wandering Worker. I hope you've enjoyed hearing from my lovely daughter, Grey, today. Be sure to mark your calendar for our next podcast, where we will continue to dive deep into the world of The Wandering Worker. We'd like to also thank our sponsor, Magic Apple, for bringing you this episode today. If you're not thrilled with your business phone system or your work from home experience, give us a shout. We've been helping people like you since 2008. Again, I am Matt Lloyd. Until next time, thank you.